Hello learners, welcome back to this class. Today I am here to continue the rest part of the chapter, A Truly Beautiful Mind, that is a short biography of Albert Einstein, a famous scientist. So in the previous part we came to know about the personal life, childhood and education of Albert Einstein. So now let's continue. One of the famous papers of 1905 was Einstein's special theory of relativity, according to which time and distance are not absolute. Absolute means doesn't have any exact value. Indeed, two perfectly accurate clocks will not continue to show the same time if they come together after a journey if one of them has been moving very fast relative to the other. From this followed the world's most famous formula, which describes the relationship between mass and energy. That is, E is equal to mc square. In this mathematical equation, E stands for energy, m for mass and c for the speed of light in the vacuum, about 3 lakh kilometers. When you sit with an ice girl for 2 hours, it seems like 2 minutes. When you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, it seems like 2 hours. That is relativity according to Albert Einstein. Now, in 1905, Einstein presented his first paper that became very famous because in this paper he presented his special theory of relativity. According to this theory, he tried to prove that time and distance are not absolute, means there is no exact value of time and distance both. They are not perfectly relative. They may change because they depend on something else. He tried to explain it with the example of two perfectly accurate clocks will also show different time after a long duration because the speed of one clock may be faster than the other. Then a famous formula was also derived from this theory, that is E is equal to mc square, means energy equals mass times and the speed of light squared. He tried to make it simple by giving the example that if you are sitting with a beautiful girl for 2 hours, you will feel it like 2 minutes only. But if you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, you will feel it like 2 hours. So this is the theory of relativity that tells that a person would feel the timing differently in different type of situations. Now, while Einstein was solving the most difficult problems in physics, his private life was unraveling. Unraveling means suffering, or you can say starting to fail. Albert had wanted to marry Mileva right after finishing his studies, but his mother was against it. She thought Mileva, who was 3 years older than her son, was too old for him. She was also bothered by Mileva's intelligence. Bothered means troubled. She is a book like you, his mother said. Einstein put the burden off. So when Einstein was busy in solving the complicated problems of physics for the world, his own personal life was suffering. As he loved Mileva and wished to marry her after completing his study, he talked to his mother about that. But she was not ready for this marriage because, according to her, Mileva was 3 years older than Einstein and it was not a perfect match for her son. Moreover, she was so intelligent that she will not be able to adjust herself as a wife, and it will be too difficult to understand her feelings because she was like a book for her mother. For his mother. So she denied for the marriage, and according to his mother's wish, Einstein also postponed the idea of marriage with Mileva. The pair finally married in January 1903 and had 2 sons, but a few years later the marriage faltered. Mileva, meanwhile, was losing her intellectual ambition and becoming an unhappy housewife. After years of constant fighting, the couple finally divorced in 1919. Einstein married his cousin Elsa the same year. After so many hard situations, Albert became successful in marrying Mileva in January 1903 and they were blessed with 2 sons. But after some years, the marriage started weakening. Faltered means started weakening. And Mileva had so many ambitions in her life and she was unable to fulfill them due to the responsibilities of a housewife upon her. So she started feeling upset and depressed day by day. As a result of this, there were quarrels between both of them. After too much fighting, when they realized that they couldn't live together, they decided to take divorce and finally they were separated in 1919 with their consent. In the same year, Einstein married with his cousin Elsa. Einstein's new personal chapter coincided with his rise to world fame. In 1915, he had published his general theory of relativity, which provided a new interpretation of gravity. Interpretation means explanation, you can say. An eclipse of the sun in 1919 brought proof that it was accurate. Einstein had correctly calculated in advance the extent to which the light from fixed stars would be deflected through the sun's gravitational field. Deflected means it will change its direction. The newspaper proclaimed his work as a scientific revolution. Proclaimed means declared. So at the time Einstein married with Elsa, another thing appeared. His popularity increased in the world. It was so because in 1915 he presented his general theory of relativity, which gave a new explanation of gravity. Gravity is a phenomena by which all the things, mass or energy, including planets, stars, etc., attracts to each other. In 1919, when the sun eclipse occurred, it proved that Einstein's general theory of relativity was correct, and the predictions which Einstein made that the light of fixed stars will change its direction to some fixed limit through the gravitational field of the sun, it was also proved by the sun eclipse that all the predictions were true. So it was announced that Einstein's work was a scientific revolution, and he became famous in the world. Einstein received the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921. He was showered with honors and invitations from all over the world and lauded by the press. So because of this achievement, Einstein was also awarded with the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921, and he got invitations for attending many events from all over the world. He was also got respect and praise by all the newspaper agencies. Lauded means praise. Now, when the Nazis came into power in Germany in 1933, Einstein emigrated to the United States. 5 years later, the discovery of nuclear fission in Berlin had American physicists in an uproar. Many of them had fled from fascism, just as Einstein had, and now they were afraid the Nazis could build and use an atomic bomb. Nuclear fission means the process through which nuclear bombs or atomic bombs are made. So in 1933, Germany came under the power of Nazis. The famous Nazi ruler was Adolf Hitler. At that time, Einstein left his own country and shifted to US forever. Emigrated means to leave one's own country and to shift into another country permanently. So Einstein left his country and he shifted to United States forever. After 5 years, the Germans discovered the process of nuclear fission, the process through which nuclear bombs or atomic bombs are made. The process was prepared in Berlin. Due to this, all the physicists in America were upset. Uproar means upset, as they were afraid of the misuse of this technology. There were many American scientists who escaped to America because of fascism. Fascism was a dictatorial concept which was started in Europe from Italy by the rule of Benito Mussolini. So all the scientists were afraid by thinking that the Nazis could misuse the nuclear power. Now, at the urging of a colleague, Einstein wrote a letter to American President Franklin D. Roosevelt on 2nd August 1939 in which he warned a single bomb of this type exploded in a port might very well destroy the whole port together with some of the surrounding territory. His words did not fail to have an effect. The Americans developed the atomic bomb in secret project of their own and dropped it on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945. So Albert Einstein was requested by his co-worker to write a letter to the President of America, Franklin D. Roosevelt, on 2nd August 1939. In this letter, he gave the warning that the atomic bomb developed by Germany was very powerful, and if one of these bombs exploded on any port, it would not only destroy the area but also would destroy the surrounding territory. This shows Einstein's humanitarian quality. He wanted good for the people, he wanted peace in the world. Einstein's letter had an effect on the president. As a result of it, the Americans developed the atomic bomb secretly, and in August 1945 they dropped it on two cities of Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The Germans just developed the atomic bomb. They did not use it on any country, but America did and destroyed those two cities of Japan. Einstein was deeply shaken by the extent of the destruction. This time he wrote a public missive to the United Nations. Missive means an official letter. In it, he proposed the formation of a world government. Unlike the letter to Roosevelt, this one made no impact. Impact means effect. But over the next decade, means 10 years, the duration of 10 years, Einstein got ever more involved in politics, agitating for an end to the arms buildup and using his popularity to campaign for peace and democracy. Agitating means to motivate others, and campaign means a short movement. Now, lots of destruction took place there in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and Einstein was deeply affected by all this. He never thought that his letter of warning will affect in this manner. So, this time he wrote an official letter to the United Nations organization. In this letter, he gave a proposal to form a world government, but this letter was not fruitful like the previous letter that was written to Roosevelt. It had no effect on the officials actually. For another 10 years, Einstein was involved in world peace. He was involved in politics, and his agenda was to stop the countries involved in collecting arms and developing weapons. He campaigned for world peace and democracy. His main purpose was to establish world peace and freedom of the people. When Einstein died in 1955 at the age of 76, he was celebrated as a visionary and world citizen as much as a scientific genius. Visionary means a person who can think about the future in an original and intelligent way. In short, you can say far-sighted person. So Einstein was far-sighted. He could see the future of dictatorship in the world. So he struggled for establishing democracy and world peace. Then, when he died in 1955 at the age of 76, the world celebrated him as a great person who showed a new way of peace to the whole world. He was considered a world citizen because he didn't think about himself only, he thought about the whole world. And a scientific genius too, because he invented so many things, so many inventions were made by him in the field of science, and that's why we all remember him for his great work in the field of science and for his humanitarian approach also. So children, this is the short biography of Albert Einstein. I hope it's clear to you. Thank you all. Have a nice day.